Hey, how are you? How are you doing? I've been a bit out of well, I don't want all this to be about me because you are busy, but basically I am not doing podcast every week now because I've got a ton of other projects in the ropes now. So I will just get on and record whenever I feel like I have something important to say because I don't want to just do it because I feel I have to do it. And I can feel my mind. I'm starting to write a book and I'm starting to do all this stuff. So I just want to come on here when I have something really good for you. And I have something really good for you. I have had some cases coming up for me, for other vets, and I can package it all in one concept that's very much about how we decide to see things, not how we perceive things, our perception of the profession as such, and our perception on each case. So let me talk you first through what happened to me on my last week of nights and how I handle it and how surprised I was at how I handle it, while in the past that would have left me a nervous wreck. So basically, I've had a really busy night. I had a surgery. I had possibly a bulldog coming in for C-section, and it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was knackered. It was my sixth night, and I have this little old dog coming in, and they kind of called saying it was collapsed and it had a heart disease. So we were all prepared to, oh my God, this is going to be, a euthanasia, or is it going to be like oxygen or whatever? And then dog some comes in and is running around. The dog is absolutely fine. And I listen to the heart and the lungs and it's fine. Like vitals were all perfect on this dog. And it was a little old lady and she had a partner, which wasn't a husband. But you know when there's a weird dynamic between owners and it make the whole dynamic of the console just go awry. So she kept asking, is it the heart? Is it the heart? Like she wasn't really understanding. And then the man was kind of patronizing a bit and kind of talking over her and like, oh, don't keep asking the same thing and she shouldn't be worried. And it was just like really hard to find a way for me to communicate that kind of covered both mindsets and these an emotional situation of each of these people, no? And so we did a blood test and it came out like there was so many values that were outright at this point, like the liver, blood sugar was through the roof, kidney values, like her electrolytes were fine. So I was like, okay, so at least like she's not dying this right moment. Clinically, she's fine. At this point, it was 6 o'clock in the morning, and it was now Sunday morning. And her own vets open from 10 in the morning to 6 or 4 or something. They were open for 6 hours. And I looked at this dog that was absolutely fine right now. The owners, they were kind of like not really understanding what was going on. And I said, look, she's fine right now. She's vomited a couple of times. How about I give her an antisycnic injection? You just calm yourselves down, have a cup of tea at home, and then take her to your own vets with these blood results, and then you make a plan with your vet. That was my idea. And we can argue whether I should or not send it to the own vets. That's beyond the point right now. Anyway, so I go to sleep, and then I come back in again in the afternoon, and the nurse that have been on charge, the locum vet that has been there, he'd been rushed so over his feet, so he'd not been had time to look at any hospitalized patient. And now this old dog had come back in and was now hospitalized. And the nurse had kind of sorted everything out because the locum vet that was on was so busy with all the consults and emergencies coming in, so he hadn't really had time to have hands on this dog. So she had spoken to the owners and she had taken the handover sheet from their own vets who had then sent it back to us, which is fine. I thought, okay, cool. They've made a plan. Whatever, now they want us to continue. No, they sent it to us because the vet was angry that I had sent it to them, and that I should just have hospitalized, that it was clearly diabetic, and now it was in diabetic ketoacidosis, and that was like, I should have seen it, I should have done something. And he wrote it really clearly on the handover sheet, which the owners brought, right? So that was, I thought that is so unprofessional. Like, why would you do that? Why would you write? And then apparently he had written the history as well, and I've written that, I don't know, something, what was the nurse said? It was condescending. He's been very condescending. And I thought, I don't really need this shit on my last week, on my last night of the week. And then I also had like that hit of, oh my God, like, did I really miss something? Is the dog dying now or suffering because that I missed it? Should I have seen that this was what we needed to do? But also to have it take into account, one of the reasons I didn't hospitalize the dog on fluid was because I had a heart condition and I didn't know what scans they had. I didn't know like what stage it was at. I don't know if she had any prior blood. So was this like an ongoing thing? So that's why I sent it back, right? And we can argue like, okay, so maybe I should just have kept it and then just started and done all the tests myself and just like find a way to communicate with the owner. So okay, so maybe he was right? There's a possibility that I should have handled it different. Like, but also I can argue that at 10 o'clock in the morning, when you come in with your cup of coffee, you just had breakfast and a long night's sleep, you probably gain a better perspective of everything than me at the end of my shift, like just after surgeries and trying to like keep bulldog owners away, right? So I just said to my clinical director, I said, can we just ask them that if they're not happy with how we handle a case, can they just like communicate it some other way? Now it's not professional and it's not nice towards the owners who might feel like, oh my God, like the first vet didn't do the right thing and now they're sending me back. Right. It leaves the owner in this kind of free fall of I don't know, like now they can't trust us, right? So I thought that was very unprofessional, but I didn't take it badly, and I am really, how do I describe it? I was quite shocked at how little badly I took it. Maybe it's also because I was tired at this point. I was a bit beyond caring what other people think of me. But imagine this is our worst case scenario. Now, like another vet thinks we made a mistake and berates us for it, berates it to the owners and is angry at us and thinks we did something really wrong and actually writes it down. And this is our nightmare, right? This is like, oh my God, I made a mistake and another vet called me out on it and they called me out in front of the owners and so on and so on. And I wasn't in a state where I can like honestly say this vet is completely wrong and and I am completely right. I'm like, yeah, 50-50. I could have hospitalized it. I could have started the treatment 4 hours earlier, maybe. But that was just like at that point, it didn't seem like that may have been the best option, right? So we can discuss that and you can sit here and debate with yourself whether you want to write into me how bad a vet I am. But the point is that I was able to take this feedback and say, okay, so yeah, it's possible I should have admitted the dog. And I just want to point out the dog didn't get any worse. It didn't suffer. They ended up putting it on just a saline drip on maintenance for like the rest of the night because they just wanted some time to think. They didn't want to start a whole treatment or anything. In the end, she was put to sleep in the morning because they were like, we cannot handle diabetes. We can't handle this. We can't handle that. So they just wanted more time. And she was quite old. There was a lot of things going on in her. But but even if my mistake had made this dog suffer, right? I can still take that feedback and I can say, yeah, dang, you're probably right. I probably should have done that. Okay, so I can see that. So next time I will probably do X, Y, Z, right? You can make a mistake and the world doesn't crumble. Another vet can criticize you and not like what you've done and even say it to the owners and the world doesn't end. What helped me as well, I think, was that this week I had actually picked up, and I thought as well, like, well, isn't it great he picked up my slack? That was one of the thoughts that came into my head. Isn't it great he picked up my slack? And isn't it great we can pick up each other's slack, but not necessarily like become condescending and criticizing of each other? Because that same week, I'd had a dog in that had been treated for weeks for pancreatitis. And that day, like, they had injected maropitan and it came in and they had vomited 6 times and the owner was like, something is not right. And I swear to God, like as soon as I put my hand on this dog, I could feel the foreign body. Like the foreign body was there in the small intestine. It was huge. And obviously my first thought was like, how did the vet not feel this? Like, how are they treating for pancreatitis? But I don't know, right? This foreign body might have started on the stomach when the vets first started pulping this dog. I don't know. Maybe it was still loose in the small intestine, not stuck back then, and you couldn't feel it, right? I don't start telling the owners, oh my God, why didn't they feel this? I just say, well, now we have a foreign body, right? I did not say anything. I was just like, well, thank God they didn't just stay at home like the vets told them. Thank God they came to us and now I can pick this up. That they didn't pick up because maybe it wasn't pick upable when they saw it, right? So I don't go to like criticizing this. And my thought is like, okay, how can I not make this vet look bad? Because I literally do not know when the last time they put a hand on this dog. I don't know what the initial exam was. Well, I have no right to judge them. But also it felt great then doing the surgery, taking it out, and now the dog is fine, right? So I thank God I could pick up whatever slack might or might not have happened. And we also had, what was the other thing? I had a cat coming in where the vet had told the owners that the cat had got a bit of dementia and given it, sent it on activated, cognitive deficit, and which I found rare in cats, but okay. And now the cat was worse, and now it was not. I think it started vomiting and it wasn't well. And as soon as I put my hand on that cat, I could feel a huge tumor in the kidney. And I thought, well, of course it's kidney failure, and this is why the cat is acting weirdly. Did the bloods, renal values through the roof, was put to sleep. But also, It could be that this tumor had grown really quickly, and the first time they touched this cat, they couldn't feel it. Or maybe now the cat let me touch it because now it was so sick that maybe before it's like one of these like really angry cats that don't let you proper feel, right? I just don't know. I don't know the reasoning behind the vets. I wasn't in the room at that time. So I can pick up now from whatever happened back then. No, I can fill out the gaps that might have been from before. You understand what I'm saying? But it's everything about how you decide to perceive it, right? You can perceive, oh my God, like these vets have done a crap job, and oh my God, they shouldn't have done it, and this and the other, and you can get into this frenzy, and you can think like, oh my God, like other vets are they work so badly, and you can get the vet owner to agree with you, and now everybody are like just angry over stuff. No, it doesn't have to be that way. You can give feedback, and for sure, these vets, when they get the history back and see that one was operated, the other one was put to sleep, and why, they're going to feel bad enough. They're going to be like, oh, how did I miss it? But maybe they didn't because maybe it wasn't there the first time they saw it, right? So it's just so important how we frame what happens every day. And I did have another a black bladder cat coming in, um, and I am a vet that, I am not obsessing over CPDs. I'm not taking a ton of courses. Like I have a lot going on coaching wise as well. I'm translating, I'm doing mentoring. So I do like the minimum CPD we have to do officially, but I do like follow people on Instagram. I follow people, other vets, like all little new, when somebody says, oh, this new study come out, I look at it, right? So I consider myself pretty updated on some things maybe not. But we had a blocked bladder coming in, and it was transferred from the own vets with a catheter in for fluids and so on and so on. And it had the renal values were through the roof. And they obviously wanted fluids for a few days. They had given this cat convenia just in case it was a bacterial cystitis, which we know normally is less than 10%. They had given it half a dose of Metacam, I guess, to try to reduce inflammation but not kill the kidneys. And they have prescribed Pedersen, which to the best of my knowledge, is now not always indicated and can be contraindicated in bladder cats, right? So I thought, oh God, why have they done these things? No, but also I don't say anything to the owners. I then maybe talk to my clinical director and say, maybe we should send over, oh, did you know there are some new studies coming out in the whatever cat guidelines thingies, that now we can do these things. No, like you do it in a nice, what I mean is we all help each other grow. We all help each other, pick each other up each other's slack, because none of us are fucking perfect, right? That's the whole thing. We are not perfect. They make mistakes. I make mistakes. You make mistakes, and we help each other as much as we can to pick up wherever we can and help the owners, right? But we don't need to perceive ourselves as bad for making a mistake. I don't need to perceive myself as super extra good because I picked up these things, because I might have done exactly the same thing as them, and then somebody else might have picked up what I missed, right? So that is the first thing I want to say. Like, you don't have to feel like the world crumbles and falls down because one, you make a mistake, and two, another vet thinks you made a mistake and maybe tells you in no uncertain terms. I didn't feel like I needed to change his mind. I didn't feel like I needed to get on the phone and call him and say, why have you done this? I didn't feel like I need to search him up on social media and find out what kind of prick he is. You know what I don't think these things. I just think like, well, maybe he was overstretched that day and this just pushed him over the edge. I don't have to make it mean anything. It's my perception of it, the way I decide to reframe the story that will mark me, right? And the thing is, I did think about this after I finished my shift on my way home, but it was more on a, oh my God, how did I get to this point from where I was, where the slightest mistake, the slightest hint of someone criticizing me will send my brain spiraling and looking for all the evidence of what a crap vet I am in all ways and forms, no? So that's the first step, the first kind of scenario I wanted to show you, and what your perception is and how you decide to reframe things can determine how you see yourself and how you see your colleagues and how you can communicate with owners and handle cases, no? And then the second case I've had was I'm in a private Facebook group in where there's vets talking about, things that have happened to them. And it's a really small group where we talk about, I think it's especially public perception of us. And what had happened to her was that she had, let me tell, what was it? she had had a consultation and had discovered either a fractured middle tooth, something was wrong with the middle tooth, and she thought we better take it out. So she had said to the owners, I'm gonna find out what's the best course of action when you come in, how much it would cost, what you would entail, I'll send you an estimate, and so on. So she called the owner, gave them the estimate, and then he starts going off on one, screaming at her, shouting at her. I don't exactly can't remember exactly what happened or what the conversation was like, but in the end he was like really rude. And she said, look, if you're not happy, this is what I have to offer. And if you're not happy, then I think she ended up having to hung up. That's how bad it was. And then he ended up then changing to another vet because she was the worst vet ever. And he sent an email complaining to her boss. And the boss was like, meh, yeah, I would have done the same thing, supported this vet, right? So in reality, what happened was she had a very uncomfortable phone conversation. An email was sent to her boss, but actually the outcome was that he changed vets, asked for the history, went somewhere else, and her boss supported her. So actually, the only discomfort here was that conversation she had with him, right? And this is partly about boundary settings. And I said to her, like, I am really proud of how well you set boundaries because this is something I normally struggle with on the go in the moment, right? I don't remember when people are berating at me. I usually would think, oh my God, no, I want them to think I'm a good vet and I want to please them and I want them to be happy with the work we do, right? And I would be really bad at setting boundaries. So she had done the right thing. So all the right steps had been taken after this, episode. But now she was thinking, can this really be true? Why can they just like behave like that and then maybe write a bad review? And why can they like send an email saying lies about us and all this? And I don't even know if I want to continue in clinical practice if owners can just do that. And also that was her mindset. And like I said to her, actually there is no problem here because everything was dealt with, right? He was dealt with. He was fired. He fired himself, whichever way, it doesn't matter. And your leader supported you. So there is no problem here. The only problem you have is you not accepting that there are rude, horrible people in the world. And they will be, right? You want people to behave a certain way. And we do this, right? We want people to not have done what they do. And we want them to behave differently. We want them to have a proper education and not talk to us in a nasty way. And we don't want them to tell us off for doing our job when we do everything we can and we're being as nice as possible. Like, what the fuck? Like, why are you talking to me like that? Or why are you writing an email and telling lies on the internet? No. But the example I gave was Trump, right? So do you remember? I don't know. I didn't even follow the football. I feel bad because I consider myself almost half Spanish because I lived in Spain for a long time and still live there part-time. And Spain played against Argentina. And when Spain won and Trump came in, this was World Cup a few weeks ago or last week. And Trump went up with the FIFA president to give the poll thing to the winning captain. And then they tried to get Trump out, like, okay, you done your thing, can you go now? And he just wanted to be in the picture. So the final picture, while they're like throwing whatever up in the air, like we won the World Cup. He's standing there in the picture now. And I see that a bit as this client. No, this is a rude person that's in your way, that does stuff you don't want to, that interrupts your flow, right? But these footballers, they didn't decide that was going to make them lose their love for the sport. It was not going to affect them. They're still going to play football. They just photoshopped him out. So in the final picture, Trump is not there. You just photoshopped him out. And I thought that was such a brilliant metaphor for clients that are basically like Trump, right? That don't listen to you, that are they're just in their own head and they're just like whatever reason. And I realize as well, sometimes owners can behave like dickheads, but actually they're grieving or actually they're very frustrated, actually they're really scared. But the way they come onto you is a bit like Trump, right? They come onto you and they are unfair and they are rude and they are not nice and they don't respect your work and all this shit. And hey, you can just Photoshop them out. You fire them from the clinic, you block them, you just ignore them. If they write a bad review, you say like, well, that was not true, whatever you tell your story, and you just forget about it, right? As long as your leaders, your management support you, and as long as you can fire this client or they can fire themselves, they don't like it, they're out of the way, they Photoshop them out of the way. And you don't have to make this mean that, oh, it's terrible to work in this veterinary profession and I'm just going to leave working in practice because like if people are going to be like that, I don't want to be here. No, you just Photoshop them out, right? You change your perception of it. You're like, this doesn't matter. And a mantra I have for this is something I was working with my client with the other day, and this was actually a private issue. It wasn't even about the clinic, but you can use it for everything. Is when your brain starts going off, or when somebody tells you something horrible, ask yourself, is this true? Like, so if your brain, for example, now says like, oh God, there's so many people out there, they're mean to the vets, and they have said all these things, and this is terrible, and you can say, is this actually true? And you're like, no, okay, there was one guy and he was horrible. Okay, fine. Is it important? Is this guy important in your life? Are you gonna like this guy that's rude and uneducated and wasn't brought up properly? Are you gonna let him have any influence over your love for this profession? And then when you think about it like that, the answer is obviously no, like that was a leading question. But that is really what you do. You go through these steps, no? So just like the vet that criticized me, I could be like, I was like, is this true? I'm like, okay, it's true. I could have hospitalized the dog. Yeah, there might be some truth in that. I'm still not sure if I would go back on it, but I accept your feedback. And is it important? No, the dog didn't suffer. It's not dead. It's here now. I don't know this dude. I don't know him from Adam. He doesn't know me. Does your opinion about me count? No. Fine, it's not important. I'm not going to let it influence me. A client is rude to you, does things, sends an email, writes a review. You're like, is it true what he's saying? Maybe whatever they say that could be true. Like if you're overpriced or you didn't listen to them properly, whatever they say, is there anything in here that's true? Okay, that little thing is true. Okay, what can I learn from that? Yes. Okay, my communication skills. Right, I should probably learn a bit more. I should probably take a step back and breathe a bit deeper before I speak to people. Okay, fine. Is this important? Like, how important is it? Are you gonna let this Trump guy, take up rent-free space in your head on your weekend off? Is it that important? Do you really need to spiral out over this? Just ask yourself these questions, because your perception and the way you reframe all this, the way you frame it in your head, the way you decide to think about it, the way you click your brain around it, is everything. It doesn't matter how many people complain about you or don't complain about you. If you are going to make every one of them mean the end of the world, it only takes one or two and you're out of this profession, right? You cannot handle it, because your brain is going to look for all the evidence that they're right, all the evidence that either you're a shit vet or you're not competent or whatever, or they're going to look for all the evidence that yes, all the clients are indeed not respectful and they don't like vets and they go out and write bad reviews, when it's actually only one or two people. And notice as well, when we're in this mindset of clients are horrible, then we somehow like end up in Facebook groups where people put on all these examples and share like screenshots of people complaining about vets, and our brain just goes like, yeah, let's find the evidence, let's find it, let's go there, right? Let's see. Can you see all these hundreds of people? But that's hundreds of clients from the whole world out of 8 billion people, or however many we are. It's not that many, but it just gets blown up in your brain because you decide to focus on that and you decide to give it this importance. You don't have to give it that importance. Just like people can gaslight each other into thinking that you're wrong and I'm wrong or whatever. Like you can gaslight your brain into whatever you want in a positive way, in a sense of you can decide whether you want your perspective to be, I am the victim, everybody attacking me, this is really unsafe, I don't like this profession is horrible. Or your perspective could be, yes, there are a few challenging people, both colleagues, both vets. Yes, I do make mistakes sometimes. I'm still going to do this. I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to show up. I'm going to protect myself. And I'm going to, I make a big difference. Like, for every one that complains or every vet that thinks you make a mistake, like, how many animals and the owners have you actually helped? Just think about that for a second. And I bet you never stop to think about that, right? You always think about all the other things that don't work. And I really want you to see how your perception of these things and how you frame them, how you see them, will shape your reality. Because the more you focus on what you don't want, the more you focus on what you don't like, the more you focus on the negative. And this is like, it's not even like wooing kind of you attracted. It's basically you will see it. That's what you will see. And the model, right? When you have a circumstance, so guy said this, guy wrote an email, and then you think, oh my God, people are horrible. I don't want to work in clinic anymore. Like, this is like, I feel I'm fighting a lost cause, whatever. You're going to feel defeated. You're going to feel frustrated. You're going to feel like defensive. And how are you going to show up? Right? Coming from those feelings. And when you show up like that, those are the situations you're going to create. You're going to create more of that because you are in that mindset, right? And I really want you to notice it's not like toxic positive thinking. It is literally filtering out that's not useful to you and decide how you want to carry on. So remember this, like, what, how do you want to decide to perceive this? What do you want to decide the frame you give this? What do you want to, what can you Photoshop out? That's actually not important. How can you decide what's important and what's not? And what is true and what is not? And what, and the thing that is true, how important is it really? How do you wanna move forward with this? Like, and it all starts with awareness. So when I first started out in this very long journey of mine from burnout to where am I now, where I'm like, meh, whatever, is um it was first this awareness, no, because I literally thought the world was against me. I literally thought there were so many owners that didn't like me, that I wasn't good enough, that I couldn't keep up, and I had to be so perfect, and everything had to be so perfect. I could never make a mistake, And I slowly started to see what I was doing, and then it became recognizes in the moment, and then starting to make decisions as to how I actually want to see this. And when I say, "May I don't care," it's not that I don't care about the dog. It's just like what happened happened, and I will take whatever I can use now and go forward. This has not made me a less efficient, a less caring, a less compassionate, a less efficient, like a less good vet at all. It's not just because you don't care about what others say about you, or you don't care about what the clients like, you don't let it hit you. It doesn't mean you don't care about your profession. It doesn't mean that you don't care about what you do and what you're and the animals. Because I think I wrote one of the posts I wrote the other day on LinkedIn, and somebody about not taking your work home and not burning out. He said something about, well, if you're a real vet and you really care, then you do think about cases when you go home. Yeah, but yes, Jonas, but one thing is thinking about cases when you go home once in a while. Oh, like, oh God, I wonder if it could be Cushing in the end, And I didn't think about the hypothyroidism, and you kind of put that in your archive on Monday morning, or you write it down, or you put it in your notes on your phone, like, oh, remember to ask the owner this, because maybe that it just pops up in your head. You have a little think about it, or when you're like, God, I wonder what I did, why the sutures open, and you suddenly remember, oh shit, I used those switches we had. I wonder if they are out of date. You write it on your notes, and then when you go on Monday, then you can check these things out. So I'm not saying you completely have to, like, if you don't forget about work when you're out of work, then you're going to burn out. But it's the way you do it. Because one thing is pondering a bit on a case and thinking, I wonder what could be wrong with it. Like, I did this, I did that. The X didn't show. What could it be instead? Of a mind of curiosity, of a mind of, like, I want to help and I wonder what else I can do, like being curious. There's a long way from that to being spiraling and spinning and criticizing and self-doubt and I have not done the right thing and beating yourself up. You can see the difference, right? So it doesn't mean that doesn't being in full of self-doubt and self-criticism and spinning and overwhelmed, that does not mean you're very caring vet. That means that you have a way of handling things that is not going to work for you in the long way, right? Thinking about a case when you're off and giving it a bit of time away from clinic, that's not a bad thing. That as long as you know how to handle that. No, it's a bit like alcohol. Like alcohol itself is not bad. You can have a glass of wine, you're fine. But it's like when it takes over and you cannot live without drinking all the time, well, then it's a bad thing, right? You can see the difference. So there's so many nuances in this, but it's what I really, really want you to do now, like this week, when you listen to this, like going forward, have a lot of awareness about how you're thinking about these things, the adversities that are happening in your day. Are you making it mean everything about you? Are you making it mean that you're such a bad vet? Are you making it mean that this profession is shit? Are you making it mean that all clients are horrible? Or can you like go through the steps really, really quickly? What's happened exactly? What is the circumstance? The circumstance is, the guy said this, or this vet said this, or this happened to this case. And what am I thinking about it? I am thinking whatever. Is that true? Like before you even get to what you're feeling, like, is it even true what you're thinking? What part of it is it true? What do you want to do about that part that's true? Okay, and how am I feeling right now? Okay, fine. I'm feeling this because I'm thinking this. Do I want to think this? Is this helpful? Is this something that is helpful in any way or form? And if it's not, then you don't have to keep thinking it, right? You can change your perception, and you can do this. Like if you put this into work day after day, when you come, and sometimes in the moments it's impossible, because for sure in the past, if these things had happened to me in the moment, like my brain checks out. I go into fight and flight, and it's like amygdala is running the show, right? So, so you want to do this after work. No, you want to do this maybe at the weekend. You want to do this when you come home and you're chilled out and you can write notes. This is why I talk about journaling, because that's when you can see it. But you come to the level of having done it so much, you catch it in the moment. Just like I have been amazed at how my brain has coped this week with stuff, all because I have done that work of the awareness and thinking about things and notice what I'm thinking and then challenging it, no, challenging whether it's true or not, and how much of it is actually important. So think of that, have that as your mantra. And in Danish, it actually, I had a Scandinavian client, and it actually was really cool because it's like the mantra is, er det rigtigt? Er det vigtigt? Which is it true? Is it important? Which sounds like, I was like, I need to find a way that I can make it rhyme in other languages as well. But have that as your mantra. Is it true? And is it important? Do I need to like pay attention to this at all? Or I'm just paying attention because I can, right? So let me know what you think. Let me know how you normally perceive things, and did you notice a shift when you heard this, and how you're gonna apply it? Love to hear your comments. Bye.